Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you, brought to you by our good friends from Endeavor Hospitality. Make sure you go to your app store, sign up, and get your WOW Club membership. WOW Club members earn exclusive discounts, dining dollars to spend, and more sent directly to their mobile phone. And Andy Moore Honda Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer, of course, joined by our good friend Dustin Schutte now. Must be bucket day.
I think it is bucket day. It feels like we're going to be going fly fishing or something later on this afternoon with the way we both look today.
Well, I picked this up last week, and this beautiful Adidas bucket hat on a great sale, but I don't have one of those. I've never worn one of these, and I don't know that I'm going to wear it yet. I mean, I'm wearing it now is pretty much a joke, but I'm like, where am I going to wear this? The whole
golf course.
But the whole reason I don't wear them is the exact reason of what happened the minute I came on and Keegan busts out laughing because they look stupid.
I love them.
Well, I know, and I got to tell you, it's not bad. It's got a whole bunch of stuff that you can hang stuff on. Man, you can do a lot of stuff with it.
I think producer Keegan is just jealous that he doesn't have one. I think that's the problem. See, I got to give a shout out to Keith Farner, who helps with our Saturday Tradition and Saturday Down South news stuff. He went to a Pacers game. He picked this up. It was like free bucket hat night, and he sent it down here to me. So, I'm always in the game for free stuff. And if it's a bucket hat, I will wear it. I don't know where I'm going to wear it, but I'll figure out a place to wear it. This show, apparently.
There you go. And I'm sure that Chris Denari will, and all of our guests today will just love the look, as I'll call it. Let's see. Are you a Reds fan? I can't remember.
Braves.
Oh,
so we split the series with you.
Yeah. Keegan, you can come in. Castellini, again yesterday with his BS apology. I'm sorry. Keegan is actually from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
The people in Cincinnati, they don't like the Castellinis, do they?
No, especially not as of late, because I think that the Castellinis and Reds fans have a different definition of the word investment and commitment to winning. So he still said, we're still invested, we're still committed to winning, but they haven't shown that at all. And then threatening to move the team because we're angry.
I did not know that they were ever invested in the team. How can you say you're invested in the team when year after year you get rid of all your good players?
Yeah.
Except for Joey Votto, which if they got rid of Joey Votto, they would probably be lynched.
No, I wouldn't be mad if they traded him because I think he deserves a World Series. So I want to see him win. He doesn't deserve the Reds.
Hat for radio Shooty. Man, my man Howie does not let us down. He never lets us down. He's like a little sideline comedian, man. Got a hat made for radio. He does. He's got a head made for radio. Take that thing off. Show the people what they're missing.
Yeah, baby. Bold and beautiful. Hey, it looks better than what I had going, which was a receding hairline and a growing forehead. So,
Sean pointing out, reminding us, Dexter Dennis, an official visit coming, is scheduled. If he comes, how and with who does Indiana make space for the addition? Man, it's a good question because that's a question on. I don't know.
There's a whole bunch of combinations that could happen.
There's too many scenarios. That's the thing. There's a lot of scenarios, and
because they have that open scholarship,
right? And everyone was hoping that. Well, and still, they're still chasing Malik Renaud.
Yeah,
and if that were to happen, now see if they bring in something like this guy, then that kind of tells you someone would have to leave or is potentially leaving.
Or someone isn't coming that they thought might have.
Next season?
This upcoming season, yeah. Like Malik Renault, if you use that scholarship.
Yes.
I'd say a smaller chance of him not coming.
Yeah, they know what's what. They know what's going on. So they know what the temperature is. But so hope that answers your question. We don't know is the answer. It depends on what's going on, who's doing what. Mm-hmm. We'll have to see who does what. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm pretty sold that Race Thompson's coming back, and I'm even more sold that Trace Jackson Davis is coming back after continuing to look at the NBA drafts. He's just not that he's just not there. And if this was another year and the NIL did not exist, I wouldn't give him a big chance of coming back. He would be gone and going to Europe probably. But it's not a different year. The NIL is here, and it has changed the game. So I think that I just expect him to be back here for another year.
Yeah, and you look at the draft stock of a lot of the good big guys in the Big Ten and around the country. I mean, Kofi's a second-round pick. Sheboy is a second-round pick, and he just won the Wooden Award like we discussed yesterday. So, I think the NIL is definitely more lucrative, and he has a better chance to grow his draft stock. So, to me, it's a win-win if he were to come back.
Great thought there. Move cop to graduate assistant. I don't know. Are graduate assistants allowed to play?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well,
may not be a bad.
Yeah,
may not be a bad move.
There was a curious case. I think it was South Carolina last year, or 2 years ago. What's that?
George? Was it George?
George.
Well,
the case was curious.
Oh yeah, yes, Curious George. The curious case of George in South Carolina, where they hired a player as a graduate assistant, and then I think they suffered some injuries at quarterback, and he still had a year of eligibility left, so he was able to play for them. I don't remember the player. I can't remember the player's name. I don't cover the conference, so I don't remember it for sure. But he was on the staff as a graduate assistant, and then because of the injuries, because of the transfer portal, all that stuff, they needed some depth at the quarterback spot, so he was able to play because he had eligibility left. So there is that scenario where you could potentially – I don't know the rules, the ins and outs, the loopholes for that, but there has been a case where a player started out a season as a graduate assistant and then moved into a player role, which would seem to be something you can't do. But like I said, I don't know the rules specifically on it.
I think Miller has a future in broadcasting. If that's my first guess. I think he's going to be one of those Big Ten network analysts, halftime show guys. But
good
Can we
call
talk
for
about
that.
for a second how Indiana's supposed to be a journalism school, and yet there's like 8 Purdue guys on the Big Ten network? It seems like it's all Purdue and Northwestern.
Well, one of those guys is an actual journalist. The others are former players.
Well, and Indiana actually puts players in the NBA. Purdue's players don't have anything to do when they're done.
Oh, here we go.
I'm just saying.
Well, not every single player that went to Indiana is in the NBA.
Yeah.
No. But the best. And so, like, say their top 10 players. Right. I think Indiana has 8, 9 players in the NBA right now. Purdue has like 1, maybe 2.
I can only think of 2 off the top of my head.
Yeah, and that's just it is. So they've got a lot more guys that are available. Just kidding, but I agree.
Seriously.
but do you really consider him an Indiana guy? He's more of a Northwestern guy. Yeah.
Well, he could be both, and then that just pulls more fans in to watch the shows. If he can represent 2 fan bases, have 2 people or 2 groups happy.
Right.
Yeah, I saw that. Bedford got hit last night by a tornado. I saw on Twitter.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy
I was
smokes.
on campus when it was happening, and I didn't even realize until I got home. But
Wow, that's not far away from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, baby. It's a little too close. A little too close. Way too close. Yeah, we had some storms, definitely. Glenn asking everyone's safe from the storms. He is, as I'm continuing to crack Keegan up today. I love it. What's so funny now, Keegan?
no, it's just reminiscent of when the whole thing with Xavier Johnson was going down, and you said maybe they were driving 90 miles an hour to go to Southern Stone or K-Bello, and then you shifted into an ad break.
Hey, baby, you know what that's called? That's being a pro. That's being a pro, baby. Sean says, I share the frustration with the cop. Can you remember another Indiana transfer incoming with such excitement? 1 year later, people are just tired of due to seeing both sides of Hoosier fans in 1 year.
Can I say that here's the problem to me with, and this is universal across the board. I feel like anytime a team lands a player from the transfer portal, that means he's automatically good. I feel like, am I wrong in this? Like, I feel like, we got a big pickup. That guy could have averaged 4 points per game at Florida or Wisconsin, Green Bay, or wherever. But because he's a transfer, because he's played college basketball, there seems to be like this universal excitement that you're adding a player for the transfer portal. It doesn't mean that player's going to add something to your team or good. It's a very unique, mentality, I guess. It just seems like to me universally across the board, if you add a transfer, this guy's going to come in and really reshape things. And that's not always the case.
Yeah. I feel like unless he's from a mid-major and he's just totally overperformed what was expected, like Ali going to Butler, then you're probably getting kind of scraps almost.
Right.
Like from another school of someone who underperformed and didn't have a big role. So,
well, I remember, and there was, and we friends with the Eyes on Big podcast, Big Kurt, Omar Payne transferred in from Florida to Illinois, and a lot of people were excited about that. And I remember, he made the comment, he's a good rim protector, but I don't think he's going to be this revolutionary player or help, lead Illinois to a Final Four. And he was right. He played some good role minutes, but he averaged like 1.5 points, 1.5 rebounds per game. So he came in and did some role things. I think more times than not, like you said, Keegan, unless it's a guy who's averaging 15, 16 points, maybe at the mid-major level, or for whatever reason wasn't fitting in at a power program, you're probably just going to get a role player. And not to say that that's bad. Sometimes you need guys like that. But at the same time, there's a lot of overblown hype just because it's a transfer player coming to your program.
Yeah, and it could also be like a Xavier Johnson situation where, he needs a coach that fits his style, and then he can have success. But a lot of the times it's, what we've been discussing. It's not going to change much, and they might disappoint you. So,
right.
Talked just barely been mentioned actually though, but Dexter Dennis, Wichita State, kind of plays into what you guys are talking about. Planning an official visit to Indiana next week. He's not going to bowl you over with his numbers offensively. He can shoot the three, but he's not like lighting it up. He's more of a defensive specialist, 6'5" wing, a guy that can just
freak.
You can go stick on somebody and just make life miserable for them.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason that would take pressure off of Xavier Johnson because that kind of fell on him a lot, depending on the position, of course. But he got into a lot of foul trouble, and hopefully that would relieve some of that. But so that's a guy that's coming in, but we keep talking about Indiana needs scoring. They need someone that can knock down shots. And this guy Dennis, I hate people with first names for last names.
Two first
the worst
names?
is? Oh, I heard one the other day that was worse. The last name sounding name was first, and the first name was last. Those are even worse. But yeah, Dexter Dennis. He's 6'5". He's not. It's not like he's big, but he was the AAC Defensive Player of the Year last year.
Yeah.
That says something right there.
He'll
You
play
are
that
the
Rob
player of the
Tennessee
year.
role of the reliable defense off the bench, most likely, if he comes to Indiana, just with a lot more athleticism
and more length. He's 6'5" and 210. I mean, that's you can put him on a lot. He can guard a guard. And probably he can guard 1 through 4 if he had to.
Yeah,
I'm gonna guess. I mean, one may
he can jump and block
trouble,
shots
but
a lot. There's a lot of good highlight videos of him. We got to go to break.
Go to thehoosier.com for all that. You can get complete coverages, all that stuff there. He's a career 34% three-point shooter. He shot 40% on 1.5 made threes per game as a freshman, but it decreased every season after that. But we got more to talk about and more to get to. Big lineup today. Oh, my God. How are we going to get through it all? Matt Taylor joins us next. Rick Bozich is on today. Derrick Jackson and guest and Chris Denari yet to go. We got it all. Coming back here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends from Denver Hospitality and the Wow Club. Make sure you go sign up. Go to your app store and just right there, Wow Club. It'll pop up for you. Wow Club members are exclusive discounts, dining dollars to spend, and more. Sent directly to your phone. Andy Moore Honda as well, the #1 Honda dealer in Bloomington. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this. You can take yourself out now, Keegan.
Okay. You want me to wait until Matt comes in and then?
No.
Get out of here.
Well, it screws the screen up. I wish he could talk without having to be in the screen.
Oh, yeah.
There's got to be a way to add a line or something, an audio line.
Do you not do phone?
There's got to be an audio in. I
There
mean,
probably is a way.
For the producer.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's the reason I bought this hat is the thought of wearing it for golf. But the whole thing is, I don't wear hats. I wear visors.
Yeah.
When I play.
I don't wear visors. I have no need for a visor.
No, I see that. Oh, I should have. Oh, I got to save that one. No, I can't believe it took us long to get that. Whoa, you buy a hat like that, you get a free bowl of soup. Oh. Nobody? No one? No one? I cannot see race leaving. Looks good on you, though.
Back in a minute.
That's pretty cool. Excuse me. Hey, man, I needed more coffee.
That's what I needed. It's not doing the trick for me this morning.
30 seconds.
Hello?
Hold on.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you here on this Thursday. Dustin Schutte with me, and joined now by our good friend Matt Taylor from the voice of the Indianapolis Colts. How are you, sir?
Word up, gentlemen. What's going on?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm waiting for a spring to show up, but so far it's still down in still up in Canada, I think. You know, this weather it's pretty salty, man.
Yeah, it's further south of us, I think. We're getting that Canada weather. Canada weather's staying tight right now, unfortunately. But what's happening with you going on in the world of the NFL? Indianapolis picks up a nice little piece. I can't remember if we were able to talk about that last week, or if you were with us last week or not, or if we talked about it. I can't remember. But either way, going forward, the Colts are in a much better position than they have been, at least in the eyes of the fans, as well as a lot of people think as well. But they're getting there.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's really, really fun to see what they've been able to do so far this offseason. It's, if you look at a progress report so far of free agency, you're looking at, obviously, Matt Ryan. It's not a free agent, but it's a trade, but it's an acquisition so far this offseason. Another trade is Yannick Ngakoue. Then they've supplemented the roster in other spots. But in saying that, they've also lost some guys that played a lot of minutes for them last year. They were, veteran starters, guys like, Xavier Rhodes is still out there, T.Y. Hilton, Eric Fisher, Mark Glowinski, Eric Reed. Now, these guys are not replaceable, but they still obviously have work to do. I mean, if you look at the Colts roster right now, they only got about 59, 60 guys at last check. And you obviously bring, up to 90 in the offseason workout program, which, oh, by the way, starts on Monday. And then you're gonna have that many guys on your roster heading into camp as well. So this thing's going to be really fluid from here on out, and the Colts are going to have to fill out some of these starting positions that that they have absent right now, with guys going elsewhere in free agency or that are still on the market right now that could potentially come back, like a guy like T.Y. Hilton. But we're still trying to figure that out. And Chris Ballard, obviously. All eyes on the draft as of right now, because it's 2 weeks from yesterday. So it's going to be here before you know it.
And Matt,
we're in the draft. I'm still available, and I'm still trying to pitch it, man. I think I've got at least one and a half games in me.
We'll throw you out there on special teams in a preseason game and just count how many bones you break in one play.
Rudy, baby. I'll give you the Rudy. I'll give the Colts the Rudy experience.
That'll be a prop bet on FanDuel and DraftKings. How many bones Jim breaks running down covering a kickoff? The over-under is set at 4, but I'm taking the over.
I'd just be pulling fat on my way down.
You won't even make it to the 30-yard line before you collapse, pal.
No, yeah, I don't think so. But looking forward to it.
Hey, by the way, when's the Bassmasters, man? When's the Bassmasters Classic for you?
As soon as we get out of here, baby.
Yeah, you're rocking that hat.
Dustin,
you look like a
Oh,
that's right.
I got this. Mine's a little bit bigger here. It's a one size fits all. It was a free Pacers giveaway that was sent to me. So we were both rocking the bucket hat earlier.
And you guys look like Gilligan. Nicely done, man.
I've never owned one of these. I picked it up on a great purchase. Nice little Adidas hat even. But they've got the cool things that you hang off of it. I don't know what the hell you'd use that for. I don't know what all I would like hanging off of my head.
Store your wallet up there. That way you can pay for another hat that you buy. That's better than that one.
Put the wallet inside the hat, man. There's enough room inside of there. What are all these things for? You seem like a bucket hat guy.
Negative. No,
sure.
Negative.
Really?
I have never worn a bucket hat. No, I have never worn a visor, bucket hat, fedora. I am straight ball cap all day.
Whoa. Why you got those visors in there? Like all indignant, as if
No, I mean, what are you doing there? I mean, are we Steve Spurrier? I mean, are you coaching the Gators here? I mean, come on.
Hey, baby.
Come on.
I am. Oh,
What
man,
is the point? What is the point of a visor? Either wear a hat or don't. Don't go halfway in
keep
between.
the sun, just to keep the sun shielded off there, baby.
Here's the thing with a visor. To me, it's always you have to have immaculate hair.
Right. Yeah. You have to have like Dave Calabro hair, or have.
Look at that.
Yeah. I mean, what are we playing? So you're going fishing right now. Then you're going to put the visor on. Let us know when the tennis match starts here, McEnroe.
That'll be next, baby.
Hey,
this would be next.
Hey, a bucket hat would have been good for your trip down in Florida, Matt. You could keep the sun off the back of your neck, off your face.
I was mostly inside meeting princesses, Dustin. So I was actually good from the sun. I was in good shape there.
I'm actually surprised that you're not a bucket hat guy because of all the time I assume that you spend outside as well, like most coaches. Like even you're not a coach, but you're with the team and doing a lot of things. So out there all the time around practice, you see lots of coaches wear these hats.
I just can't. I can't. Yeah, I don't have I don't know what it is. Maybe I don't have the head shape or the personality to pull off the bucket hat. I either have a ball cap on or I just go out there and I get fried like a lobster and I turn beet red. Like there's no in between for me. I don't get tan. I just go from pale to red and then start peeling.
See, I try to get, I do tan and I try to, that's why I wouldn't wear something like this. That's why I wear the visor. Exactly why. And keep the blonde hair blonde.
Yep.
So one question, Matt, I had
Dustin solved that problem. You can take the hat back off for a second. This just happened like 2 weeks ago. He went all in. He just pushed his chips in, said to hell with it. It's over. Bam.
See, that's not a fashion statement, Dustin. That's an economic decision right there. That way you don't have to keep your hair, right?
I'm saving on shampoo. I'm saving on haircuts. And like 100%. I said, it's better than what I had going on, which was a receding hairline and a growing forehead. So, really 3 birds with one stone.
I think you look good, though, man. I do. I think you're pulling it off.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
The funny thing is, when someone first does something like this and they look so strange and like an alien.
Damn, how do you really feel, dude?
I'm sorry. He's still here. I didn't know that. He can hear me. No, I'm kidding. But it doesn't take long to where that quickly becomes the norm and they look so normal. And it is, you just completely forget about the fact that someone is just bald, but whether it's by choice or not, it just quickly, unless they have a half a man grown out of the side of their head, you just forget about it.
About what we used to look like.
Like I said, I think you pull it off, Dustin. If I didn't know that you didn't go for the buzz cut and for the low trim, I would have never known that you just started.
And the nice thing is, too, is I used to just wear a hat every time. Now I can go outside. I don't have to worry about anything. I mean, it's just wake up and go, man. It's
right.
The best.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a lifestyle.
And now I did have one NFL draft-related question for you, Matt. And maybe we've talked about this before, but with it being right around the corner, I'm always interested when you get to this stage, is a team looking to when they're on the clock, is a team looking to fill those vacancies that they have or those deficiencies, or are they going for the best player? Maybe you have a great player that's available at the cornerback that you don't necessarily need, but it's too hard to pass on him. Is it more of the best player, or is it more of filling a deficiency?
Yeah, I think every team will answer that differently, but working around this regime for the Colts, it's pretty clear that the answer is they're always going to draft the best player available. They're never going to sacrifice the fact that, hey, Anthony Costanzo just retired and we have a hole at left tackle. Let's take a left tackle or a guy that maybe not as high as he may be the 4th best left tackle, but meanwhile when we're picking, the 2nd best edge rusher might be still available as well. So that's not what they're going to do. They're not going to reach based on position if the guy is not there. Now later in the draft, maybe in rounds 3, 4, 5 and so on and so forth, they might go to the intersection of best player available and need, so long as they're not compromising their board, but they do the board for the reason. I mean, honest to God, like once the draft starts, the draft dictates to them who they pick. And if you don't have the draft board set up before the draft, then you're just in you're in a unorganized chaos, right? Because
Right.
honestly, the draft should be easy once it starts, because you will have at that point put in all of the work and set up your draft board so that by the time you're picking, let's say, in a normal year when the Colts have a first round pick, if like, let's say last year when I believe they were sitting at number 21 when Kwity Paye fell to them, it's not like they have to deliberate very long on what they're going to do.
Sure.
At that point, this player at that position is the best player on our board, regardless if we have, 3 or 4 edge rushers that we like. And that's one of the things. I mean, there's a lot of different positions in this league where you can never have enough depth. And last year, it was a lot of people were kind of scratching their heads saying, hey, in the first round, you drafted Kwity Paye, and then in the second round, you drafted Dayo Adangbo, and they play similar positions. What's the deal? Why not go get wide receiver, or not? Why not, take a tackle again after Anthony Costanzo decides to retire? It's because you can never have enough pass rushers. And, the fact is, before last season, the Colts were kind of rolling the dice on some veteran guys that were kind of getting up there in age, were commanding a lot of money, like a Danico Autry or a Justin Houston. The Colts at that point, I'm saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent, but they just made the conscious decision of, we're going to build this thing long-term at this position, go young, try to develop and have these guys be mainstays for us at that position. And so that's what they did. So at both times of them picking last year in the first and second round, those players at that position were the best players available on their board. So I think that's how most teams do it. Now you got teams like the Rams that, that they want proven commodities in their setup to have this window of opportunity right now. I think the Colts have a window too, but they just kind of do it differently. But the Rams last year proved that, hey, there's different ways to skin a cat. We want proven players that have a track record of success in this league, in the NFL, more so than, a draft pick that is, at the end of the day, no matter how good he is coming out, he's still a projection. So I think, the Colts want to draft well, develop, re-sign their own, and kind of have a core, whereas, again, there's no right or wrong way to do it. I think the Rams showed, hey, forget about these draft picks. We're going to sell these draft picks, trade these draft picks for proven commodities, get premium players at premium positions. But teams, I think, generally speaking, across the NFL, they're always going to draft for need and not reach, because when you reach, guess what happens? You miss on the pick. And then 2-3 years later, you got to do it all over again. You're still having holes at that position that you missed on. So the Colts take the draft deathly seriously. It is the lifeblood of the NFL, and it's certainly the lifeblood of this franchise. They put a lot of stock and a lot of pressure on themselves to draft well, but Chris Ballard embraces that pressure. And more often than not, since he's been here since 2017, he's hit on his draft classes.
Dustin?
And so it's just always fascinating to me, Matt, from the journalistic standpoint. How much do you get to talk with some of the players? You were obviously at the NFL Combine. Some of these new guys coming in, is it mostly you're talking with scouts, you're talking with members in the Colts organization to learn more about these players? How much do you get to interview some of these guys that maybe the Colts are really interested in? How much from the broadcast journalism standpoint do you get to know about some of these players that the Colts are maybe targeting in the draft?
Yeah, it's certainly better now, because of COVID the last couple of years. Obviously, everybody's been kind of working remotely. But generally speaking, not a ton. I mean, these in-house, top 30 workouts that they have, obviously those are meant for, personnel folks, Chris Ballard's staff, his scouting department, the coaches, Frank Reich and his staff. They will meet with the players. There's really not a huge opportunity for folks like me in the broadcast sense to interview players. But I tell you what was really fun for the first time in the last 3 years because of COVID, with things trickling back to normalcy, was we had the local pro day on Monday. And so you had guys, in from Ball State, IU, Purdue, kids from Illinois, Marion University was represented. It was just really fun. Then you had, some of the guys that played at other colleges and universities across the country, but they have local ties. Maybe they played high school football around here in the area, like a guy like Max Bortenschlager from Cathedral, who played at Florida International. He was there. Brandon Peters from Illinois, who played at Avon. He was here on Monday. I got a chance to interview David Bell from Purdue. I got a chance to talk with Micah McFadden from IU, Ty Freifogel. And, so you get a sense for what they're thinking going into the draft, their draft process, how grueling it's been, with all the workouts, the combine, and flying all over the country with these top 30 workouts, getting a sense of, how taxing it is to not only get ready for football, but to get mentally prepared for these interviews. And, they're training in different ways to, put up good times at their combine and their pro days with the 40-yard dash and the shuttle and all those things. So it really is just like a different animal for these guys. And so to get some FaceTime with at least some of the local guys was fun this week. I tell you what, I'm really rooting for a guy like Micah McFadden. I mean, I talked to him for 5 minutes and I can just see why, he's oozing with character and, good leader and just, high class inside the locker room. So hoping for him and his sake that he gets drafted and has a good career. I know the Colts, we're talking to him on the side, just like they did with David Bell. So, that part was really good to get back to normalcy, to see football and see guys working out of the complex at the local pro day this week.
Matt, man, I can't wait till next week. Maybe talk a little bit more about the potential of landing someone like a David Bell. Perfect. It doesn't usually work out, but in a time where that's a position Indianapolis looking to fill, how big would it be for an Indiana kid to fill that spot? But looking forward to it, man. I can't thank you enough as always.
You got it, guys. I appreciate it. Look forward to it. Have a good weekend. Dustin, keep it going, man. Looking good. Jim, sell that hat, pal. Just put it out in the yard and see if the birds pick it up.
I love it.
Got my free bowl of soup, baby.
Caddyshack.
Matt,
there you go.
Got it. Matt Taylor from the Indianapolis Coach joined us. Brought to you by the Courtroom Sports Grill in Bedford. Check out them on the web, man. That great stuff. All part of Endeavor Hospitality, and where you can use your Wow Club card as well. Hey, back with the great Rick Bozich right after this. Hello, Mr. Rick.
What's up, everybody?
We're just hanging in there.
You ready to go out and play golf with that hat?
You know what? I
Bad hair day?
Well, I always have those. But I can usually cover that. I usually cover that up with one of these. But
I don't have to worry about it.
I don't have one of these. Not that I even cared to have them, because I just don't see me wearing it. But it was a really nice Adidas hat that was at a place that was on sale for crazy. It was $14, and I'm like, yeah, I'll take that.
Reminds me of Dan McDonald. Those are the hats he wears, right?
Make sure you pay attention to the thumbnail today, Jim, when it comes out.
Oh man, do you think I ever miss it?
You're gonna like it.
What's new in Bloomington? Anything good?
Nothing new. Just quiet on the front. You know that Dexter Dennis. He's got a first name for a last name and a last name for a first name. Anyway, he's coming in for a visit. You know, that brings up questions because he's a defensive guy. They still need someone to knock down shots. So, and does that mean they're still or not on Malik Renaud?
Right. Yeah. You are expecting Race and Trace to both be back? Yeah, because they signed Race Thompson to that NIL deal, and it's unless it's for minimal nothing, to me it's stupid to sign him to an NIL deal. He's from Minnesota, and unless he's wearing that jersey, there's nothing about Race Thompson that, to me, unless they're just doing it to be nice.
Minute out.
I don't see Trace getting drafted high enough. I gotta get some coffee.
He always waits until the very last minute.
Was he getting coffee?
Yeah.
And then I'm counting down from 5, and he's in the process of sitting down in his chair.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
Rick, you're a big baseball guy, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
I was going to say we should probably talk about that Clayton Kershaw decision.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to talk about that in the first segment, but we got talking about bucket hats and whatnot.
Sure.
Oh, jeez, John.
Well, we got a comment
From John.
See, I'm way back up here.
All right. Back.
Oh,
in 5,
that's actually funny.
4, 3.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios on this Thursday. Rick Bozich joining us today. Normally comes to us on Wednesdays, but he was off on a special assignment yesterday. Great that the baseball season has started. Life must be great for Rick Bozich. The White Sox off to the best start since, 2006 or something? They're 4-1.
2005, which was the last year they won, the only year in my lifetime they've won the World Series. Ruby! The garbage man just came, so this should stop in a minute or two. They lost the first game to the Tigers. They've won the last 4, so kind of surprising, actually, because they've had a ton of injuries.
And you mentioned that those stats only mean so much, but that's a pretty important one.
Go ahead.
That's a pretty important one. The fact that it goes back to the last time that they won the World Series, that's just got to jump out.
Yeah, I mean, they got a really good hitting team. They've been, I don't know how closely you follow baseball, but over the last, 6 or 7 years, they traded Chris Sale and Jose Quintana and Adam Eaton and a bunch of Todd Frazier, a bunch of guys, and totally rebuilt the team, building towards this kind of situation, and got some really good young prospects from other teams like Eloy Jimenez, Dylan Cease from the Cubs, and they got Lucas Giolito from the Nationals, and they got Yohan Moncada and Michael Kopech from the Red Sox, and signed Luis Robert from Cuba, and so far the plans worked pretty well. They made the playoffs last year, but got eliminated in 4 games by the Astros, so if they can get healthy this year, they'll be okay. I just had to give my dog a carrot so she didn't bark the whole time.
I was deciding yesterday. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm just going to give in. And the Reds suck so bad, and they're never coming back, that maybe I was thinking maybe I'm going to adopt the White Sox as my American League team. Man. That way I'm not cheating on the Reds. It's a different league, and because they're never going to meet unless it's in the crossover game. The Reds are not making any playoff series anytime soon.
Yeah, so, the Reds need no ownership, man. They've given up, haven't they? They've decided they can't compete financially, and the White Sox are playing the Mariners right now. It's like Jesse Winker, he's a really good player. He was on the Reds. What happened? And the third baseman too. What's his name? Suarez. Yeah,
and they just got at the start of the season. They got rid of the outfielders. Is that who you're talking? The all-star outfielder.
Yeah, he's on the Mariners.
Oh, Winkler. Yeah, just crazy. Yeah, I've been saying that. Normally the Reds wait till the middle of the season to crush their fans' hopes by getting rid of all their best players. But this year they said, "Oh, hell with it. Let's just start the season off that way." And,
well, I noticed they only had like 11,000 people there yesterday, so they're going to find out that people aren't going to be excited to show up and pay major league prices to watch a AAA team.
And Rick, I wanted to get your thoughts because the big news yesterday was Dave Roberts' decision to pull Clayton Kershaw, 7 perfect innings. To me, from a fan perspective, I certainly understand the injury situation and the reason behind the decision, but at the same time, we're not talking about after the 5th inning or the 6th inning. I mean, he had to figure out how to get 6 outs, and he was on 70 pitches or 80 pitches. I can't remember the pitch count. It was, it was just an interesting decision. But you being a big baseball guy, I'm interested to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a problem with it just because of Kershaw did have an injury-filled season last year. B, he's older, has thrown a lot of innings. C, we had a shortened spring training this year instead of the normal 6 weeks. It was only about 4. And you know, you can bring in fresh arms in the pen and complete the perfect game, have a combined pitcher perfect game, and it didn't work out. 6 outs is still a long way to go. I've seen a ton of perfect games be, broken up in the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning. So I don't have a problem with him thinking big picture there. I know a lot of people were outraged, but Roberts it's not the first time he's done it. He's done it like 4 times, right? I mean, that's like what he does. I don't like. I mean, what I don't like, and this sounds like a contradiction, but it isn't. I don't like the whole mentality of baseball where pitchers are so babied anymore, and the reason that's the way it is, that's why I'm accepting of it. But the trend needs to be reversed, especially for a guy like me who remembers in the 60s when starters went on 3 days rest. They threw routinely 275 to 300 innings. They threw complete games. You know, guys back then it'd be nothing for be a league leader to throw like 20-some complete games. There probably weren't barely 20 complete games in all of baseball last year. So they baby all these pitchers all the time, and they have just as many, if not more, injuries now than they did then. And I don't know why that is.
Fernando Valenzuela. That's the guy that always comes to my mind. You talk about it. He would throw complete games virtually every start.
Of course he did. Yeah.
I mean, almost every start he was going the distance.
Bob Gibson.
And I'm talking about winning 20 games too.
Bob Gibson, Gaylord Perry, Phil Niekro, Ferguson Jenkins of the Cubs. I can go on and on and on. And that's on 3 days rest. And
were these guys, though, were they throwing as hard?
No, I don't think they were. And they weren't also, a lot of those guys, when they were younger, I think they were multi-sport athletes. Guys now that I think a lot of the injuries in baseball is the kids. I mean, they play baseball all year round. If you're good, you're on a travel team. You're playing in the fall, and if you're really good, you might be in a travel team from the Midwest that goes down to Florida and plays in January and February. And I think the wear and tear on a lot of kids' arms comes from their 10, 12 to 13, 14, 15-year-old age.
And I can kind of speak to that, Rick. Living down here in Georgia, if it's a nice day in the middle of February, there's a game going on at the ball fields, a couple blocks from my house. It's nonstop year round. And I'm not saying that that's they're playing for a league championship, but there's 2 teams on the field and they're counting balls and strikes. There's an umpire there. So it's gotten to the point where it's kind of like AAU basketball. When the regular season is done, you still have the AAU travel ball, all that stuff. And I think now that you say that, I would agree that I think if you're a pitcher and you start at, 10, 12 years old and you're constantly throwing and playing in all those games, I would suspect that would put a lot of wear and tear as opposed to some of those older guys that were not playing year round and were multi-sport athletes. I think you hit the nail on the head with that.
I mean, it's almost like a surprise now if you're a pitcher and you're any good, and by the time you're 27 years old, you haven't had Tommy John surgery. It's almost like it's part of your development. You're gonna do that. The surgery, that they're so advanced on it that you're going to recover from it in 13 months, and you're going to come back and throw harder than you used to throw. I can look at the White Sox staff right now. Giolito's had Tommy John. Michael Kopech's had Tommy John. Dylan Cease has had Tommy John. Garrett Crochet, who they just got out of Tennessee a couple years ago, he's out now with Tommy John. I mean, I'd say half their pitching staffs had Tommy John surgery.
I was looking at trying to figure out Fernando. He threw a 2,000. Where is he? 2,930 innings pitched, almost 3,000
games.
Well, I was trying to find the complete games, and I'm not seeing that stat. That's what I was looking for. I'm like, damn it, they got so much stuff up there, and I'm not seeing.
I'll find it.
There we go. 113.
There you go.
113 complete games in a 17-year career. Out of where's the number of games? 453 games. 113 complete. That's 5%.
There you go.
That's nuts.
Well, Tom Seaver.
They were Warriors, baby.
Tom Seaver he pitched in 656 games. He threw 231 complete games. So over a third of his starts were
even more.
Games.
Wow. Crazy. Tom, terrific. Let's see. Gilbert Gottfried. Yeah, poor man. Indiana still waiting in the waiting game right now. Dexter Dennis coming for a visit from Wichita State. He is a defensive specialist, so that doesn't answer the offensive needs. He's the guy that can hit shots, it seems like, but is not the guy that you're counting on to hit the three-point shot. Is a career, I think, 34% shooter, but a very good lockdown defender.
Hasn't his shot three-point shooting percentage gone down every year?
Yeah, he's more. It looks like he's become more of a lockdown defender. And, Indiana, I said in the last segment, maybe that takes pressure off of Xavier Johnson. He was getting in foul trouble with a lot. And if you've got this guy, that you could put him on their best player, which is what he said in an interview on the Hoosier.com, and which is, I'm sure there's the discussion with Coach Woodson and all the staff. But so they still have to answer the offensive question because that's not, of course, that's assuming that Trayce Jackson-Davis stays. I think he stays. I just don't see a viable path. He's the mock drafts that I see average have him down in the 40s and the 50s. He said he wants to go in the 30s. I just don't see that happening. There's too many names in front of him that are just better skilled, I think. So I think he's coming back.
The things about Dexter Dennis that caught my eye was his 2-point shooting percentage. Wasn't it under 40%?
Yep, 38% or something.
Yeah. I mean, that seemed alarming to me. It didn't seem like I don't know what his free throw percentage is, but he seemed like more of a guy who would be, a 10 to 15 minute a game guy, a defensive guy. I don't know about him being a starter. I know he's going to be a fifth-year guy, but he's you're right. Considering the offensive struggles Indiana's had for the last 3 or 4 years, he doesn't seem to be the guy they need to fix the problem. They need a guy who's a more reliable offensive player. I don't know about Trayce Jackson-Davis. It's going to come down to how he performs. Isn't he going out to California and working out with other guys who are getting ready for the draft? He'll get analyzed. He'll get tested. He'll get measured. I'm sure he'll go to Chicago for the combine, and I would think he's at a level in his draft status that he'd have to participate in the games, not just go in there and do interviews and get tested. And it's up to him. The thing that's, you always have to remember, Jim, he only needs like 1 or 2 teams to get excited about him. And if some team tells him, we're going to take you in the second round and you'll get a 2-way contract and, you'll be up in the NBA part of the year and you'll be in the G League part of the year, that could be enough to persuade him. So I don't know. I saw what he said. I think he said if he didn't go in the top 35 or something or whatever it was, he would come back. And it's different than it used to be because obviously it's not a, meager G League contract versus making nothing in college. He can make as much money as anybody on the IU basketball roster. So he'll have a decision to make financially there too. But
he'll make more money than he would make in the G League,
right?
Here for certain. Now he could probably pull in more money overseas if he wanted to do that, but that's not going anywhere. He can do that the following year. He can stay here another year, and we've just seen the big guy from North Carolina is coming back. Was it Bacon? He led them to the championship game.
The national player of the year at Kentucky might be coming.
We've talked about him a couple of times this week, and it's like, dude, and these are guys. Now, does that affect him in saying, well, if these guys are not going, why should I? Or is he thinking, well, maybe that's opening up some room for me? Of course, it depends on who these players are that that don't go in front of him. But yeah, I just don't see it. I think it's set up to come back. I think that I've said this too. Indiana has just seemed like they're a cycle off so many years here for the last several years. They've just a cycle off. Well, this may help get them back on cycle, so to speak. But there's questions again. The kid from West Virginia. I thought that guy looked like someone that would be perfect to
McNeil?
Yeah, Sean Mino plug into playing for what Indiana's needs are.
Where's he going?
But
Is he picked somewhere?
Indiana's in his top 6. Louisville's in his top 6, which tells me that he's not going to Louisville. I don't see anyone going to Louisville right now. There's just a lot of people jumping off of that ship, it seems, and a few more than I thought with Kenny Payne coming in there. But I don't expect that kid to go to Louisville. I haven't heard much yet. And with Dexter, with Dennis coming in, I'm like, yeah, I don't know what the strength is. They're trying to get Reno. I'm like, man, there's just a lot of moving pieces right now still.
Now, is Dexter Dennis, he's the first guy to visit, right? The portal?
Yes, to my knowledge.
Has Reno decided to make a visit to Indiana, or is that still up in the air?
They're trying to get him here. I know that. And I don't know if it's been made to happen yet, but he hasn't been here. But I don't know that anything has been scheduled yet.
What's the firm list of who is actually going to be back next year? Leal and Galloway, is that it? I mean, I think that, and this is me, I'm not expecting any more changes off the roster. Xavier Johnson's not going anywhere. That would have happened already. With the exception of Trace Jackson Davis. And I guess you could add Race Thompson in there, but I'm not, because he signed NIL, signed him, and it would be pointless to sign him for now if he was on his way out. And Trace Jackson Davis is already on there as well. So I don't. So I honestly do not. Bates and Geronimo and Duncan, they're all going to be back.
I expect them all back.
Okay.
The only thing that would change that is if somehow Reno came in. I could see Duncan leaving.
Well, then they really wouldn't have a center. Well, you're saying Jackson Davis.
Well, Malik, yeah. Because I don't know that they want to play with a quote-unquote center.
Interesting.
But we'll see how it goes. What's coming up next for you, man?
Oh, Derby's 3 weeks away, so we'll start getting into Derby mode next week. Waiting on Kenny Payne to name the next 2 members of his staff to join Nolan Smith. Waiting on him to actually announce his first either guy out of the portal or high school recruit. They're in on a different group of guys. I think they have 4 or 5 guys who are committed to coming back at this point. Waiting around on decisions from Kentucky, who it's kind of surprising that the kid
Allen ends up at Western Kentucky.
Huh? Bryce Hopkins put his name in the portal, and Keon Brooks is thinking about going to the league too, right? So he's out there.
Well, yeah, we hear that every year. It seems like.
We're not hearing the Keon Brooks to Indiana rumors this year, are they?
I have not been sucked in on that again. That was certainly the last year, but
the biggest story here, I guess, is there's a very public and well-funded group of Louisville boosters who want Tom Jurich back as the athletic director at Louisville.
Just exactly what I had pulled up off of your story on that. And if you're not familiar with that situation, it's kind of wild, because Tom Jurich was the athletic director. He led Louisville into a new era of everything. Let's be honest about that. But then there was the fall, and that came after the Adidas stuff with Pitino and yada yada. And then now, but there was a group that never liked the fact that he left, Rick.
You're right. And there are some substantial people. You got Jim Patterson, whose name's on the baseball stadium. Steve Traeger, whose family's name is on the football practice facility. and Dr. Mark Lynn, an eye doctor in town whose name's on the soccer stadium. So 3 substantial boosters have all said they'd like to see Tom Jurich come back. What they'd like to see is the search firm at least reach out to him and consider him as the next AD. And then you also have a less public but equally forceful group of boosters saying that's the last message Louisville needs to send to people, that they're going back to the AD who was in charge when they got in trouble with the NCAA, when their case is still in front of the NCAA. You don't need to do that. So if you thought the arrival of Kenny Payne as the basketball coach at Louisville was going to usher in sort of a moment of unity for the program to move forward, that hasn't happened.
And it's just, yeah, that's a wild story. It would, especially because Louisville has not gotten their decision yet from the NCAA. That's the thing. I could see them if that had been handed down, there probably wouldn't be any discussion. They probably do this in a second because Louisville's kind of become a rudderless ship. You got an AD out, a president in and out, coaches in and out, program in the dumpster now. Your flagship program, football's doing okay. They're not on great.
Yeah, it's the second time in 5 years they've had an interim president, interim AD, and when that happens, that's not good for the direction of your program.
Never good. What's coming up next for you that people should know about?
Like I said, just getting ready for Derby stuff. Be early mornings at Churchill Down. Are you coming down?
I plan on definitely coming down. Maybe try to do the show down there a couple of days.
Okay, that'd be good. Yeah,
be awesome. Be fun. There's an excuse for you to come in, Dustin.
Normal this year, where the backside will be packed with people. Although it'll be strange this year because there'll be no Bob Baffert, and he's won. Depending on whether you count his last win or not, he's won 7 derbies in the last 25 years. So it's going to be
crazy.
A weird scene.
It will, but it'll be a fun one, and I can't wait. The great Rick Bozich from WDRB.com. Make sure you give him a follow if you are not already, but you're crazy if you're not. Rick, thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Have a great weekend.
Go White Sox, baby.
That's right. They got a 2:10 start today.
We'll be on it. Hey, we're back with more from Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Coming up next, our good buddy Derrick Jackson joins us, and he's bringing some guests with him. We're back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, brought to you by the Courtroom Sports Grill down in Bedford. Back right after this.
2.
What's up, DJ?
What's going on? How you doing, man? What's happening with you, man? I see y'all talking a lot of sports, even the Derby this morning.
Well, that's how we roll, brother.
Good, man. Good, man. Hey, it's great to have.
Got my fishing hat on for you.
Yeah, I know. I see that, man. So I hope you're up to catching a lot of fish because they haven't been so good to me over the past few days. But it's great to have a man DT on the show, and I think there's head coach Sam Brown there from Dunbar High School. So it's great to have them guys, and DT will get a chance to tell you everything about it when we go back on live.
All right.
Devin, hey, Devin, how are you, man?
Pretty good.
Good.
Sammy, is it Dunbar in Florida?
Yes.
Or Dunbar, Fort Myers, Dunbar. Yes, sir.
Dunbar, Fort Myers.
Man, I was looking at some of those changes this week. You guys were talking about Trace Jackson Davis. I think he'll probably stay. I don't think he's going anywhere.
Who's that?
I agree.
Trace Jackson Davis, man, from the Hoosiers up there. I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think he did his draft stock any good this year. He had a decent season, but I think if he stayed one more, I think it'll be best for him.
It'll be good.
Yeah. We'll be back. I guess we'll be back on the air in about 2 minutes, John?
Got 1 minute.
1 minute? Okay.
I'm filling in for John today.
Okay.
DT, how you doing, bro?
Doing good, Coach. How you doing?
Good, good.
Hey, Keegan,
What's up?
you can stay in when they come back because it looks like it keeps it. Or if you drop out, does it stay like this as well? Because this is pretty symmetrical. Oh yeah, works out great. Awesome sauce.
All right. I'm back in 20 seconds. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you on this thirsty Thursday. It's the sun is shining out there. I don't know how warm it's going to get, but it's warm where these dudes are. They're all down in Florida. Our buddy Derrick Jackson joins us. Also joined by Sammy Brown, the head coach at Fort Myers Dunbar High School, and Devin Tompkins, an AP third-team All-American from Utah State, who's expecting to hear his name, hoping to hear his name on draft day, NFL draft day. Guys, how are you?
Great, man. Great. Good to have you.
DJ, how's it been going with you, man?
Hey, it's going well, man. I mean, I can't complain. The weather down here is probably a lot better than up there. Like I said, the fishing hadn't been so good, but I'm just eager to see what goes on with a lot of athletes. But most important here is DT and the things that he did when he was here, as you know, playing on the head coach Sammy Brown there, and just expecting the guy had a phenomenal season. But I'm gonna let Devin tell you all about that.
Well, first thing, Sammy, I want to know is, before we all know, there are certain states that Indiana is a state that produces basketball talent like no other. There are certain states, California and Texas, obviously for size in conjunction with being in the Sun Belt, but Florida, man, why do they produce so much speed, so much the talent positions, the skill level positions? It just, Ohio puts out a lot of players. Texas puts out a lot of players. Florida does too, but they put out a ton of the speed. Why is that?
Man, I think it's contributed to a bunch of flat land. These guys out here running, they're coming out the womb pretty much running. I mean, it's a tremendous sport. The track, the sport, and the soccer. I mean, everything they're doing, they're running from day one. So these guys, it's a testament to Florida. I mean, they put fast guys on the field, but then you got tremendous coaches in this area that train these guys and make them not just athletes, make them football athletes, not just football athletes. They make them student athletes. So there's a lot of moving pieces that put this thing together, man. But I'm just happy to be a part of the Florida Football Association and being able to coach tremendous guys like DT.
Devin, of course, did you play college at just one stop? Are you one of the unusual athletes that went to one school now?
Yeah, I just stayed at Utah State for my year.
With all this stuff coming in, the transfer portal and all that stuff, were you ever tempted to try to go someplace else?
Yeah, so whenever the COVID season happened and everything, I actually entered the portal at the end of the year. We had it was rough. We were 1-5, and things were just falling apart. They fired our head coach at the time after the third game of the season. So, the program started getting real dysfunctional and things like that. So I wanted to first start and wanted to go play for a bigger team and everything. And we ended up getting Coach Blake Anderson, and he was just a good man. He got me to come back and everything. He was just a man of his word for real.
Devin,
first of all, I was going to ask him, Dustin, one quickly. How does a dude from South Florida, I don't know if Fort Myers there is South Florida or not, but it's south enough for me. How the hell you end up in Utah? It's pretty damn cold out there, man.
Yeah, for real. I just was, blessed to have that be my only Division I offer. I had Valdosta State and I also had Duquesne, but Utah State was the only D1, so I just cashed in all my chips on it. And they found me, and ever since then, they came and got me, and I loved it out there ever since I got there.
Devin, I wanted to ask, you had a really good career out at Utah State, but this past season you just exploded. What led to your success this past season? What went into your training? What went into the system out at Utah State that allowed you to be an All-American type of player, and now you're prepping for the NFL draft and hoping to hear your name called here in a few weeks?
Yeah, really, I finally just got into the offense, that was able to use me the right way, what I mean? Since I've been there, I had really good seasons. Like my freshman year, we went 11-2, and then sophomore year we went 7-6, did pretty good. But I just never, we always had other players on the team, and I was younger, so like I never really got my opportunity to actually like display all my talent, the way that I did in high school. And then this season, all the chips just aligned in the right place, and we had a great offense scheme. Our offense, our style of offense was fast paced, so. And we were so spread out, it allowed us to create a lot of one-on-one matchups. And, that's my game all day, one-on-one man coverage. So I got open a lot.
And so now you've got to go through this process of the NFL draft, which it is a process. Are you going to the combine's already, is it happened? No, it hadn't happened yet, has it?
Yeah, combine's happened.
It did happen already. Were you at the combine?
No, sir, I wasn't.
Okay. So what?
I
was going to say. So what for players that don't go to the combine? What's the best route for them? Are you doing individual workouts for teams? How's it work?
So I had my pro day. We have like a version of a combine at our college called pro day. And I had my pro day on March 23rd, but we just run through the same exact drills that they do at the combine. So 40-yard dash, vertical jump, broad jump, 5-10-5 shuttle, L drill, and basically just to show our athleticism and things like that. Then we run routes, and there was a lot of different scouts there. We had 17 teams at my pro day, so there was a lot of teams there, and they were analyzing us and things like that. And I didn't. A couple teams have reached out to me since my pro day and things like that, but I was just really sitting back waiting and just. See what happens during the draft.
Sammy,
and Derrick, go ahead, Dustin.
I was going to say, Sammy, how much did you stay involved and keep in touch with Devin throughout his college career, and how rewarding is it for you as a coach to see him? Like I said, he had a solid career, but then just to explode the way he did in that 2021 season, really become the focal point of that offense. How much did you stay involved with him, and how rewarding is it for you on the coaching side of things to see his progression throughout his college career?
Well, I'm a hands-on type coach. I'm always locked in with my guys. I mean, once they leave Dunbar High School, we're still tied up. I mean, it can never go away. We do this little ceremony at the end where we bury the names off the jerseys in the side of the field house. So Devin knows he's rooted. I mean, Devin is a Dunbar Tiger. Whatever he does, I'm supporting it 100%. I mean, we're on the phone. We're talking about the kids, the wife, the family, the mom. We're talking about everything. We make sure all the pieces are aligned. I mean, even through this draft process, it's a crazy thing. You got the best receiver in the country not going to the combine. But one thing for sure, I can stand on it. He is one of the best in the country. I mean, I don't know what they're missing, but somebody's going to get a gem, and I truly believe that.
Hey, Sammy, with the talent down there, do you know what Big Ten team has the most players from Florida on it?
Big Ten, Florida. Since I'm on here, it's got to be IU or.
I'd stop there if I were you.
Oh, I'll just leave it right there,
Yeah. Well, Tom Allen was a comrade of yours of sorts.
You want to continue to be the team with the most. I got a couple guys laying in the cut waiting on you.
Well, I was getting ready to say Tom Allen, Indiana's head coach. He coached down there in Tampa.
Okay.
So that's how that got started, basically. They've got a pretty good pipeline down there, but he was a head football coach at Tampa. I'm trying to think of the high school, Keegan.
I'm not sure.
Gee whiz, drawing a blank on it right now. But anyway, yeah, for more than a few years. He coached up in Indiana, where he's from, and had success, and then went to Florida. But yeah, there are a ton of Florida kids on the Indiana roster.
So I got several more guys that I can give to you.
Hey, I tell you what, hey, Jim, like we said, week, man, it'd be great to have those guys. I mean, and just like I had the opportunity to work for Coach Brown, and I was also even blessed enough to have the opportunity to be the position coach for Devin when I was there, and not just him, Shockey Jaquez Louis also. But I tell you, man, I am telling you right now, I would not want to be one-on-one with Devin. I can tell you right now, it would take a Deion Sanders type guy to cover somebody like Devin, because I'm telling you right now, and I like I said it all along, if this guy, I don't care where he go, if he get the ball in his hand, man, it's a wrap. It's 6 on the board all day. I put my head on that one. And Coach Brown, he know exactly what I'm talking about.
That's right. Hey, the guy's so talented, I wish I could say I did it for him, but shoot. He brought it to me, so I just said we were able to critique it a little bit, make it just a little bit better.
Devin, I know we're going to take a break here shortly, but just wanted to ask you, of all the the great NFL receivers, who's a player that you model your game after? Obviously, every receiver, every NFL player is coming in. They want to create their own legacy. They're their own person, right? But if you had to compare your game, is there a receiver that you think that you modeled your game after, or one guy in particular that you think you match up well when there's a comparison made?
Yeah. Like for me personally, like I like to take multiple players. Like I said, the most resemblance is like a Tyreek Hill, kind of like that's the biggest thing. But I like the way Devontae Adams, how he does his releases. I like the way Cooper Kupp sets up his routes. I like the way that Tyreek Hill uses his speed in open spaces, and he can he's able to use his speed to his advantage when it comes to angles. Like how certain DBs take certain angles to the ball. Tyreek Hill knows how to he knows how to basically, deceive them with his angling and his speed and things like that. So I like that from his game. And but yeah, that's really kind of how I look at it. For me personally, and I know another person I like a lot is T.Y. Hill, T.Y. Hill from the Colts. He's another tremendous short slot player, but he's really explosive too.
Well, if you're modeling after those two guys, you got to learn the celebration, right? Because you got the TY and then you got the peace sign. So you got to come up with a good celebration there when you're in the end zone next season.
I figured DT went out.
DT, baby. Plant City, Coach Brown. Tom Allen coached in Plant City, I believe.
Okay.
In the Tampa area.
All right. Well,
so
he knows the speed and what comes with it.
Well, we'll get you hooked up. I'll get you the contact info, and you guys can take it. That sounds great. Hey, I cannot thank you guys enough. Coach Brown, thank you very much. Good luck in the upcoming season. Thank you so much as well. Good luck in coming up. I hope you get drafted, and it goes on from there, and you have a great career. I'm sure you will either way, no matter what, because there's enough to do out there. You keep on moving. And Derrick, I can't thank you enough as always, brother. I appreciate it. Look forward to doing it again next week.
Good, man. See you next week. Coach, thanks for being there. And Devin, man, good luck, brother, man. Eyes are all on you in the 239, brother.
Right.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate y'all having us, man.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck, Devin.
Good luck. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, brought to you by our good friends at the Courtroom Sports Grill down in Bedford. Back with more right after this. Chris Denari joins us. I'm still not used to not having sound, man. It just messes with me. I've got a fill-in producer, Chris, and we don't have sound in the breaks, don't have commercials.
He was on the show last week when I was producing.
Okay, well, I can't remember all that.
Devin ran a 4.35 at his pro day.
Woo!
It's all right.
It's all right.
Yeah,
that might be. I'd have to look. That might be faster than any Big Ten receiver ran.
Yeah, because Olave ran like.
I meant to ask him: is he out of eligibility?
No,
Devin?
He played 4 years. He should have a fifth with COVID.
But he's not gonna. I mean, he had 102 catches, 1,700 yards, 10 touchdowns. I mean,
he's mocked in the 6th or 7th right now. And actually, one of the mocks has him going to the Rams.
oh man, that's awesome.
That'd be sweet.
Where is my coffee? I made it the last segment. I got to heat it in the microwave now.
So now you're full-time grandpa, golfer, and gardener, right, Chris?
Yeah, I moved 24 yards of dirt on Tuesday.
Oh,
So
you hurting?
fortunately, I have a neighbor that has a front end loader, so he came over and bailed me out.
Nice.
He only had to spend like 10 or 15 minutes, but it probably saved me a couple hours.
Wow.
So, yeah. So we put in a new driveway last year, and so there's rock up against it. So I tapered the dirt from the top of the driveway. Once I seed it and get it all set, it'll look nice.
Now, is it all flowers, or do you have produce or anything in your garden? Or
No. Ours is more flowers and plants and that kind of stuff. So, like I said, we moved here 3 years ago. Somebody had lived here for 40 years. It's a 1925 Craftsman.
15 seconds.
It's right south of Woodland Country Club.
gotcha.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. I hope everyone's having a great, happy Thursday. Dustin Schutte from the Saturday Tradition with us as always. And now we're joined by Chris Denari, voice of the Indiana Pacers. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. It's always a weird week. That first week after the season's over, you've prepared and broadcast 83 games from October to April, and then all of a sudden it ends. But we had a really enjoyable.
This is the end.
Yeah, that's great. You know what? We had a really enjoyable day though yesterday. It's called the Foaling Warehouse. It's combination bowling football, and it's down just outside of downtown. And we had an entire Pacer Sports Entertainment staff sort of luncheon and get together to sort of, celebrate the end of the season, looking forward to the summer. And it was a lot of fun. So that was great.
What's the name of this place?
It's called, I don't think it's fouling. I think it's foaling. It's a combination of bowling and football. Basically, there are 10 pins and you throw a football and try to knock them over. And I'm going to tell you, it's a little harder than it looks, because even though you have those pins there, if you hit what they're on, that rubber football just bounces and flies away. But it was a lot of fun. I would say it's similar to what they've developed. It's like Topgolf. There's a restaurant there. There's bars. Somebody told me that on Friday, Saturday night, the place is packed. So it's just another opportunity to get together. And I think they do a lot of corporate outings. It's a lot of team building and those types of things. So we did that yesterday. The Pacers had their exit interviews on Monday. And then I was off air telling Dustin I moved 24 yards of dirt on Tuesday. That was my Tuesday, with a lot of help from my neighbor with a front end loader.
Yeah, I heard you talking about that, and I was going to tell you, man, if you ever have to do anything like that again, big job, you need help, call me. I'll reach out to somebody and try to get somebody to help you.
No, I enjoy doing it. I mean, we've done so much around this house, but we put a new driveway in last year, and so I needed to cover up the rock that was up against it. And so it's going to look great once it's done. But that's the advantage of living next to a neighbor who has 8 acres and he's got all kinds of equipment. And he saw me, and all of a sudden he starts driving over in his front end loader. And he probably,
dude, any chance those guys get to use that, it's like,
oh yeah, there's no question. He spent, I'm going to say he came over twice. He came over once for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then, he left, and I went in, and then I came back out and did some more. And he saw me out there again. He goes, "Hey, do you need me to push some more?" I go, "Well, if you'd like to." So he went and got his front end loader and came back. And so I'm going to say that in the 20 minutes total that he spent, 10 minutes the first time, 10 minutes the second time, probably saved me a couple hours of work easily. So it was much appreciated. Much appreciated. But I've got that on my docket. You're right. I've got some golf. It's cold though today. It's like 41 degrees. What's the temperature down where you are, Dustin?
It's in the mid 60s. We're gonna hit
Shut
70.
up.
Yesterday it was
No one
earlier
wants
this
to
week.
hear
We've
it.
been in the 80s. I'm going down to
Nobody
Jekyll.
cares.
I'm heading down to Jekyll Island here in a few weeks. My brother,
Island in a few weeks.
stepdad and I. We're gonna be on the beach. We've got a 3-round golf tournament. We're gonna play amongst ourselves for a traveling trophy. Jim's not invited. Chris, you can come down if you want.
Jim will be in 41 degrees Bloomington working.
It's crazy. I feel like the weather normally turns by now.
It's missed the, and I said this yesterday. All that means is it's going to hang on, and then we're going to go straight into the June weather.
Yep.
And I'm like, damn it!
You
missed.
I saw this on
weeks
Twitter.
ago.
I saw this on Twitter a week or so. I know we're in the midst of spring football, and I don't know where it was, but it was a spring football game that was being played in the snow. It was somewhere south that, the snow came, and they had their spring game. And I'm thinking, this is spring football. And it looked like it was November.
I thought it was Kentucky.
Was it Kentucky?
I thought so, but I can't. I know what you're talking about. I can't remember exactly. I thought it was Kentucky. Yeah,
I think you might be right. I think it's when that snow hit, and that's what I always think of spring football as spring football, not snowy football.
Right. It's like in the usually it's 50, but for whatever reason it was 20.
Yeah.
Hey, do you live on the north side of town, Chris?
Yeah. Yep. Carmel.
I asked because so you're close. You're not too far from Topgolf then.
Oh no, not at all.
The reason I ask is because they're putting in a new golf place southwest of Lucas Oil. It's not Topgolf, but it's the same thing basically, which I've been wondering why no one else was knocking that off. It's not like that has that they've got a lock on that market, because everywhere they are, they're kicking, they kill it. They just kill it. The hardest thing is getting approval to do it.
I think
places. But
you're right. There are a couple other companies that have things like Topgolf, and there's
Back Nine, I think.
Back Nine. I think there's some different things. I know where our son and fiance live down in Myrtle Beach. They have a Topgolf.
Oh,
and those things are just packed all the time.
And the funny thing is, Myrtle Beach doesn't even need a freaking Topgolf.
No, it
Myrtle
doesn't.
Myrtle Beach is Topgolf in and of itself.
Yeah,
it is Topgolf just dispersed out in 1,000 different places. But yeah, it's I have not been to a Topgolf, but I would have to think it is introducing golf to more people, to women.
Yeah. It's a really good experience because you sit in your area, you alternate hit shots. For people that aren't golfers, you just hit the ball, right, and you follow the flight of the ball. There's a number of different games you can play. Accuracy games, distance games, those types of things. I've been 2 or 3 times, but I've had a lot of fun. There's no question about that. It's You think about those opportunities you have, like I just talked about the Folding Warehouse, regular bowling, Topgolf. Just all types of things where you can bring groups together and have fun. And that's what the golf industry has been able to do with Topgolf and these other companies that are moving forward too.
And one of the things I really like about what they're doing now is they're doing like a stadium tour. Auburn's Jordan Hare, Penn State's Beaver Stadium. They're setting up a Top Golf. I don't know how it's going to work, but you can basically hit the golf balls from the bleachers onto the field. And I don't know how they're going to work it or what they're going to do, but it's a really cool experience. And I can just speak, no, Myrtle Beach doesn't need a Top Golf. Orlando, Florida doesn't need a Top Golf, but there's one there. And I think, to me, look, when I lived in Orlando, it's incredibly expensive to play around a golf. And Top Golf isn't cheap either, but it's an opportunity for you to still enjoy the nice weather, get out, and not have to spend $150 to play around. You can split it up with 3 or 4 buddies and spend $25, have a few drinks, have some food, and have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
June 24th. Keep that date in mind. I haven't made the official announcement yet.
Yeah.
What's that?
What is that?
The
secretive.
It's the day after the NBA draft. I know that.
Perfect. Then you'll be free. Never lose golf outing.
I did want to ask Chris not just golf related questions. I did have some Pacer stuff to talk about. Mostly
wait a minute, you interrupted my pitch.
Oh, well, I thought you were teasing it.
No, it's never lose hoop golf event. It used to be the Hulls Foundation. Jordan Hulls and JC and that crew. So June 24th at Eagle Point, no less. Okay. That event's coming back. Lots more to announce and talk about that starting next week. But keep that date in mind, peeps. June. Okay. I'll talk more about it when you're off. But definitely want to have you down. But go ahead, Dustin.
Am I good now? So my question, Chris, was I thought at the end of the season, I really liked what Rick Carlisle, when he talked about, look, this wasn't the season we wanted to have, obviously. This isn't acceptable, quote unquote, for Indiana, but also that the franchise is in a really good position. It's exciting. I think a lot of fans for a couple of years now have been wanting to kind of see what a rebuild would look like. And we're going to get that opportunity this year. What maybe would be your assessment of Rick Carlisle's first year back in Indiana? I don't take much away from it. You're kind of working with different lineups. You're seeing what works, what doesn't. I know that there's going to be some knee-jerk reactions to this isn't the Rick Carlisle of old, but I think that given the circumstances, given the injury, the amount of trades and everything, I still think he's a really good coach. He's going to get this figured out. What was your assessment of his first season as back in Indiana?
Well, there's no question about that. I mean, he's going to be a Hall of Fame coach, and he's the guy. There were 37 different starting lineups. And if you look at the end of the year, who was on the floor, and I don't want to take anything away from them because I really think the development of the young players was very important for this franchise. But at some point, there were times that you literally had 4 players on the floor, sometimes 5, that had been playing with the Fort Wayne Mad Ants in the G League. Right. So he did not have the personnel on the floor at the end of the year. He did not have the roster that he started the year with that was, healthy at that time. And then when you look at who was on the bench, who was sitting on the bench at the end of the year when you weren't a very good defensive team, Miles Turner, 2-time NBA leader in blocking shots. Malcolm Brogdon, who's a pretty decent defender out on the perimeter. Chris Duarte, who as a rookie I thought was a pretty good defender, was a really good collegiate defender at Oregon. So you had those 3 players that basically the last month, 2 months of the season never played together. So I think you were asking a lot of that group that was on the floor, especially late in the year against all of these teams that were playoff worthy. But I also think it was a valuable experience for Rick to see these young guys. And now going into next year to have even more trust in them when you turn to them. Now, some of those guys you hope are a little bit different in where they fall in the rotation. Maybe they're not starters, but they're 7, 8, 9, 10, or maybe a couple of them are 11 and 12, and you can go to them in situations where you have injuries. But I like what I saw from what they were able to do development-wise, to keep it positive, even in a year that was very, very difficult. I mean, it was one of the poorer years in franchise history. But I do take people are excited about the future because of these young guys and what we hope we'll see in the draft.
And I know we have to hit a break here shortly, but the one other thing I wanted to talk about real quick was, I mean, just the experience and the opportunity this gave a player like Lance Stevenson to come back and kind of resurrect his career. The opportunity it gave Dwayne Washington, who, if everybody's healthy on this team, is probably, as you said, he's probably in the G League or is not seeing very much time with the Pacers. I think there's a silver lining here where you found out a lot. You gave some other guys some opportunities, and I think that it bodes well for the future of the Pacers as they look to, like I said, go through this rebuilding process.
Yeah, and I just saw on the screen that Tebow said, and this is a very important game tomorrow night, Cleveland hosting Atlanta for the right to be the number 8 seed. And it's really important that Cleveland wins that game, because if they make it to the playoffs, the Pacers get their first round pick, and that's going to be pick number 16. So you would go into the draft in June with a single digit pick. You're hoping a top 5 pick. You'd have the 16th pick, and you'd have Houston's first pick of the second round, number 31. That means you have the possibility of getting 3 picks in the top 31, or you can package picks, to do something different. So tomorrow night is a very important night for the Pacers as far as rooting for the Cleveland Cavaliers, because if Cleveland does not make the playoffs, they keep their lottery protected draft pick.
It's a potential a mini Dallas Cowboys situation that Jimmy Johnson had back in the early 90s when he traded Herschel Walker, got like 6 players, and they used that and they traded off to get all these draft picks. And that's how they built that Super Bowl winning teams that they had. But the Pacers, they've just got to get the right guys or make the right deals to get the right guys in. But yeah, they can either draft guys or set up deals to bring veterans in. So they're in a pretty damn good position if things goes. I mean, they're in a good shape either way, but they're in really good shape if Cleveland wins that game.
Well, and quickly, just, look back at last year. I think they had a really good draft class. I think Duarte and Isaiah Jackson are going to be foundational pieces in the future. And you throw Dwayne Washington in as a free agent signing. Those are 3 pretty good players that you got out of the 2021 draft. Now you have an opportunity to potentially add 2 to 3 more. And with Tyrese Halliburton and the young guys that you have, we haven't even seen this group play with Miles Turner. So I do think the positive is you're going into next year with some hope and a chance to really turn things around.
Is there any hope that turning things around with Bally Sports?
Oh, you mean as far as the streaming is concerned? I mean, it doesn't just affect the Pacers. It affects 17 NBA teams. It affects the Reds. All those negotiations are, I'm sure, ongoing with the YouTubes and the Hulu. I mean, the thing that I will say, we're on every cable outlet in Indiana. We're on DirecTV. We're on DirecTV Stream. We'll just have to wait and see, what the future holds. I mean, Sinclair or Bally has talked about for next year, they will create their own over-the-top app. So you don't have to have cable. You don't have to have Hulu. Nice. You can just subscribe to your favorite team via the app. So we'll just have to wait and see on that.
Sounds wonderful. June 24th, my friend.
All right.
Thursday.
Okay.
Looking forward to doing it again next week. Chris Denari from the Indiana Pacers. Appreciate you, brother. We've got lots more coming up. You as well. Plenty more coming here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Brought to you by Southern Stone Restaurant, a member of the WOW Group. Make sure you go and get your WOW Club in your app store. WOW Club members earn exclusive discounts, dining dollars to spend, and more sent directly to their mobile phone that you could use at places like Southern Stone or wherever the Coaches Show will be next year, because it'll be at one of these places. We got plenty more coming up. We're back with it right after this.
Did you see Elon Musk offered to buy Twitter for $41 billion?
I did see that.
Oh my God. I would have said yes and out the door.
Well, they're trying. That would give each shareholder $57 per share. I think Twitter's
Who's the
going
biggest
to
shareholder?
try to get it up to 75 per share. So
that's a big ass increase.
I just want an edit button.
Yes.
All I want.
Yes, please, God.
I wonder why Jim wants an edit button.
Well, there's one specific video post that I would like to edit. One word, exclave instead of exclusive.
What about your
When Bob Knight
video?
Bob Knight, I had the only interview with Bob Knight, but I was in such a hurry. I was trying to get it out. And yeah. Cooper Cup video, what happened with that?
Cooper Cook. You spelled his name
Cooper
cock.
Cook. With a
with
C?
A K. No, with a K. You spelled it C-O-C-K. It's C-O-C-H.
I thought it was K-O-C-H. Anyway. No, it probably changed to that. And
yeah, but you just have to go back and make sure.
Yeah, sometimes you miss that shit. When it doesn't highlight it.
If they do introduce an edit button, they're going to make it a timed one, I'm guessing.
Well, you can get a timed one on Twitter Blue for $2 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm not doing that.
That's just a delay. Like I have that on my text messages. You delays it for 7 seconds or whatever it is, so you can look at it.
Well, yeah, but it allows you to look at it before it sends out. So you
what stops you from looking at it before you send it?
What'd you say?
That doesn't do any good. I can look at it before I send the damn thing.
Do you?
Clearly not.
Not as well, but why would I? That's why I needed that button.
You want me in for this last segment?
I don't care.
Okay.
What are we talking about?
Well, we can talk about Twitter.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you here on this Thursday. Dustin Schutte from Saturday Tradition, co-hosting with me as he does each and every Thursday. Keegan Nicholson sitting in at the producer's table today for John, the producer, who is, I think he's getting his cats bathed today, or maybe they're getting their nails polished. I can't remember what it is today, but one of those things. But no, just giving John some flack. We miss John when he's not here. He is a gigantic part of the show. So there's that. Let's see. What are some of the stuff? Oh, Gilbert Gottfried died, man.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks. My earliest memory of him was from, was it 48 Hours, the Eddie Murphy movie? Or Hollywood or Beverly Hills Cop, I think. Anyway, he's the attorney where they go and he's got all those parking tickets. He's like, and he pulls out money because they're gonna. Is there anything in this hand here that maybe I don't know, what is this? What is that, Sarah? He's got like $500 in cash over there or something. Is it what is that? It just disappears and that was just, he was just hilarious. I mean, that was a character that he developed basically.
Well, I mean, he was kind of over the top, and that was the character he developed, and it obviously paid off for him. But he was one of those guys that, outside of the movies, I don't know if people know his stand-up or the way he created his jokes, but I mean, nothing was off limits to him. I mean, tragedy, it didn't matter. He was willing to go. And if I can find this, I'm going to say it because I thought it was a really important quote when I was going through, when something like this happens, I go through a lot of old clips. And he said something when he was on the Colbert show.
Is this about comedians today?
About what?
about today's comics and people?
Well, he said, so 5 years ago when he was on the Colbert Show, he said, now you can't tell jokes anymore. It's like society goes crazy if they don't like the joke. I feel like jokes should come with a set of instructions. If you think it's funny, laugh. If you don't think it's funny, don't laugh.
And if you don't like it, maybe, give it or something. Or he goes, or politely leave.
Right. That's it. I mean, that's the thing
about it.
But that's not today's, man. That's not today's people. Everything's got to be their way right then for them, where they want it. That's just
the thing that, and a lot of people don't agree with me on this, but I'm one of those people that I would agree with Gilbert Gottfried's mindset, where there's nothing off limits in comedy. You can write a good joke about anything. I mean, that's the way most comedians view it. And you can debate whether or not some things are off limits, but if you can write a good joke about it, you can write a good joke about it. That's their job, is to entertain. It's to stretch borders. I mean, if you go back and look at some of the stuff, Lenny Bruce, I mean, he was arrested for making comments that today you see on network television. He was arrested on stage for some of that stuff. I mean, he set the foundation. So it's always to push limitations. And I think he did that really well. I mean, you can go back to some of the stuff, at the Hugh Hefner roast, and I'm not going to mention anything that he said, obviously, on this show, but the way he lost the audience and was able to get back the room, win that back over with one of the, I guess you could say, dirtiest jokes in the history of jokes. It's incredible what he was able to do with his talent.
Let's see. How about the lady who glued herself to the floor? Was that in Portland?
No, that was in
Minnesota.
Yes, Minnesota.
Timberwolves Clippers game play-in tournament.
Surprised it wasn't in Portland.
See, obviously she didn't use super glue.
No, she used Elmer's glue, and they just pulled her arm off the floor immediately.
Yeah, because it's not going to work. It's going to take 6 hours to set up, and it's not going to hold you down anyway. If she was serious, she would have used Gorilla Glue.
Which would have been incredibly appropriate for a PETA protest, I thought.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if it was specifically PETA, but it was an animal rights protest.
Yeah, and that glue is probably made out of animals.
All of it, yeah. That's why the one she used didn't work. She didn't have one that was used from animal parts. Just kidding. But no, if she was serious, though, it just shows she wasn't serious. If she was serious, she would have used Gorilla Glue, because it would have. Now, had she done that, think about that situation. That would have caused the deal, because they were able just to pluck her right up. But if she used a Gorilla Glue, that would have been a serious situation. Had she actually glued her hand or something to the court.
And why would you do it with your hand? Why would you not glue your shoes? I'm thinking
because you can take your shoes off. That was the whole point, to not be able to be removed from the court there, dingus.
Okay, but clearly, Jim, she wasn't thinking, because she used Elmer's glue on her freaking hand.
She wasn't serious. She was never serious. If she was serious, she would have used Gorilla Glue.
Yeah, but
or she's just a moron. Or she didn't use Gorilla Glue because it says Gorilla.
Think about this, though, okay? Even if you get her out of those shoes and you drag her off the court, the shoes are still glued in the middle of the floor.
Why are you taking a woman out of her shoes on a basketball court is what I want to know.
Because she glued them to the floor. What are you talking about?
Why are you with a woman who's gluing her shoes to the floor at a basketball game?
I'm not with her. I don't.
Well, where did you get that from?
I'm saying, if she was serious, let's think about this as if a logical person is doing this, which they're not in the first place. You would take a much stronger glue. You'd glue your shoes to the floor, because even if she gets arrested and taken out of her shoes off the floor, the shoes are still glued to the floor. You got to get one of those scrapers out or something to remove the shoes. It's a much bigger delay.
And also, if you're going to, it
would have been a much bigger delay had she just used Gorilla Glue on her and put two arms down. They couldn't have gotten her up. I mean, it would have taken a minute.
And if you're going to do it at center court. How are you going to go right on the baseline?
Well, because she probably had more time to get down and because
where
you start running out
security's
there.
closer to her and they can pull her up. Not if she goes.
Well, but
into
if
the
you're
bush
running
and
out
some
there,
distance.
you're going to be spotted before you get to your destination. Therefore, the pursuit will probably start prior to that. And if she was really serious, she should have done it naked. Went into the bathroom.
No. Stop. No.
She should have gone into the restroom.
Stop.
Had a friend with her.
This show is off the rails.
Put glue down the backside of her body and immediately run out from the bathroom and run to the court and lay down. That would have worked.
If I ever see Jem tweeting about animal rights, I'm gonna start.
It's like anything, baby. You got to commit. It's about commitment. You got to commit to it. She was not committed. She was not committed.
I just don't think it's worth the jail time. I mean, even if it's overnight.
And then there was how about Miles Bridges throwing his mouthpiece at the fan.
Yeah, he didn't throw the mouthpiece. He didn't
throw it at that guy, I don't think.
He tried to like hit a guy with a towel because he was like going like this in his head or in his face. Yeah. And then the mouthpiece flew out of his mouth, hit off the towel, and hit the girl. And then he tweeted after, he's like, get me in contact with the girl. That's unacceptable. But nothing about the guy that he tried to hit with the towel.
Not with that haircut.
Oh, geez. Here we go again.
Well, gosh. Well, what are you going to do? Let's see.
What are you going to do?
I had some other stuff to talk about.
Twitter. Elon Musk.
Oh, well, yeah, Elon Musk. That's right. You know what? That's going to happen.
41 billion.
I mean, you're ignorant to turn that down. You're just plumb ignorant because the I mean, who's the owner of Twitter? Which I know that there's no owner now. But there are who are the major shareholders and how much do they own? That would be.
His name is Jack. I don't know what his last name is.
Jack. Hey, Jack. That would be interesting because that guy probably has. I don't know. Do you think they still have 50%?
He just bought 10% stock like last week, and he's on the board now. Elon. So he bought 10% of Twitter, and he's on the board trying to make changes. And the first thing he said is, "I will get an edit button on Twitter." But
boom! I didn't know you didn't say that part. That's He'll then go on. I love it.
So he's actually the majority shareholder at 9.2% stake.
Really?
$3 billion. Yeah. So
it's split up pretty far then.
Yeah. But if he wants a hostile takeover, I know a team that plays baseball on the Ohio side of the Ohio River that could use that. So he can just buy them and
now it's come full circle.
Yeah, Reds. He can buy the Reds. He can buy the Commanders.
And he's gonna what? And he's gonna make his money back. What on what? NIL for those guys. I want a Tesla. I wish somebody would give me a Tesla.
You just give it to you.
That expensive here soon.
Yes. Well, I don't want to buy it. They're expensive.
How much are they? Does anybody know? I mean, people that
70 grand and up.
The basic model is probably 55 to 60. And then if you want to get a Model S, the sports car, it can run you about 110, 120.
See, I just don't care about cars that much. I don't care what brand it is.
Yeah.
Oh, Howie, Jennifer, please. Yeah, if you took his,
there we go, baby.
If you,
I'm back in
if
the
you
game.
if you took his face off, maybe.
If I took my face off.
Sounds like Dustin is experiencing gluing shoes to the floor. Yeah, you sure did talk about that a lot.
Hey.
Like you had some personal experience.
Hey, let me tell you.
What did you talk about, Jim? Going to the bathroom.
Let me tell you that
that's commitment, baby. Commitment. I'm just talking about commitment.
On a basketball floor, I was always asked why my shoes were glued to the floor. That's the extent of my verdict.
Oh, exactly. I get it. You can't jump. White men can't jump. Speaking of Cooper Cook. He is expecting a decision this fall. Instead of early March, after his high school season ended earlier than he had hoped, Cook and his father, former Hawkeye J.R. Cook, went on a tour of schools in the Big Ten that offered scholarships. That's included Iowa City, Champaign, West Lafayette, Bloomington, and Madison. That's pretty good when you've got those kind of offers. Those are 5 really good offers: Iowa, Illinois, Purdue, Indiana, and Wisconsin. But so that's a guy that's, he's got his options, man. The one thing is he plays for Indiana Elite, and Indiana usually does well with those guys. They honestly haven't in the last couple of years, though. They lost Trey Kaufman. You got Logan Duncombe, but we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We got to wrap up.
He's looking for a fall decision now, so there's that. Yeah, we got a minute to go. What's coming up next for you there, Mr. Shooting? I was trying to think of something funny. No, it's not coming to mind.
A young Bruce Willis, a young, suave Bruce Willis. What's coming up for me? We're just continuing on our spring game kind of tour for the Big Ten. We got 2 more, Ohio State, Michigan State this weekend. We have plenty of Big Ten news, basketball, football. We'll probably dabble a little bit in baseball now that we're the basketball season's done. So Big Ten news 24/7 on SaturdayTradition.com. Heading up to Nashville for my first NHL game tonight, seeing the Preds, and heading down to Jekyll Island in a few weeks. So
heading down to Jekyll Island in a few weeks. I only said that once. Let me say that again today in case you all didn't hear it the first time.
Jekyll Island.
I got compared to Bruce Willis today, man. I mean, I'm on cloud 9 right now.
Well, that's because the comparison really is Dr. Evil. Do this. Hey, do this.
I'm not going to give you the satisfaction.
Do this one time.
No.
Come on.
I gave you the air quotes. He does the air quotes. How about that?
Oh, man. Looks like Dr. Evil from Austin Powers. What are you talking about? But we love him like a brother and appreciate him so much. Dustin Schutte from Saturday Tradition. Cannot thank you enough, brother. It's always a blast each and every Thursday. I cannot wait. Look forward to it. Can't wait to do it again. Big thanks to everybody else. Matt Taylor, Rick Bozich, Derrick Jackson, Chris Denari, also Sammy Brown from Dunbar High School, and Devin Tompkins. Thanks to all those guys as well. To Keegan Nickerson for sitting in for the last few days. For John, the producer, he's back tomorrow. And we've got lots of recruiting talk and at all. So plenty more to do tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. Go out and have yourselves a great day. Stop by and see our good friends at the Wild Club or Andy Mar Honda. Until tomorrow, I will see you on the radio.